has been said that one person's vote makes no difference. I disagree. Every vote matters. In fact, history supports this assertion. When the Constitution was originally ratified in 1788, it provided, under Article 5, ways that citizens could add to, correct, or improve the document. Nearly 12,000 amendments have been proposed and considered by Congress, of which only 33 have been approved by both houses. A 3/4 majority of the states never endorsed 6 of these proposed additions, leaving only 27 ratified amendments in 231 years. Interestingly, 4 of these amendments address voting rights. 4 out of 27. That is a greater focus on one single topic than any other subject addressed in the Constitution. The 15th Amendment extended the right to vote to all men, regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. The duties of citizenry afforded by the 15th Amendment were largely thwarted during the era of Jim Crow, however. It wasn't until the ratification of the 24th Amendment, which abolished the poll tax, that the privilege of voting became a reality to many who had been disenfranchised due to the separation of segregation. The 26th Amendment, which sprang from the turbulent days of the Vietnam conflict, lowered the voting age to 18 years. It is the change in voting privileges afforded by the 19th Amendment that I want to address today. Come back in time with me to a hot, humid day in Nashville, Tennessee. The date is August 18th, 1920. Nashville is teeming with excitement in what comes to be known as the War of the Roses. Supporters don yellow roses to demonstrate their backing of women's suffrage. Opponents wear red roses. Imagine yourself as a spectator in the Tennessee House of Representatives. The governor has called for a special legislative session to discuss ratification of the 19th Amendment. If passed, this addition to the U.S. Constitution would extend voting rights to half of the country's population. Women would no longer be denied the right to vote. In August 1920, Tennessee is the final state in the Union to examine the ratification of the 19th Amendment. 35 of the nation's 48 states have voted for ratification. 4 states opted not to consider the proposal. The remaining 7 states rejected the amendment. Tennessee holds the future. One state's vote is poised to alter history. The legislature votes whether to table deciding on the amendment, thinking that if it postpones, momentum will stall. An unexpected event occurs, however. One representative, a man named Banks Turner, changes his one vote and supports the immediate determination for ratification. Because of this single ballot, the Tennessee House of Representatives decides to vote on ratification. Mr. Turner, responding to his duties as an elected representative, cast his single vote. But it was not the only vote to influence the course of history on that steamy August day, however. A newly elected representative, Harry T. Byrne, also made an impactful decision. Mr. Byrne was an ardent anti-suffragist and the youngest member of the Tennessee House. Each day that summer, he wore a red rose to signify his opposition to women's suffrage. As the final ballot was being called concerning ratification, and the House vote was tied 48 to 48, to the surprise of everyone present, Mr. Byrne clearly and loudly responded, "Aye." This one vote mattered in that it changed the course of our nation's history. Tennessee legend states that Harry Byrne was chased through the Capitol building and ultimately hid in a broom closet to avoid being beaten by anti-suffragists. When asked why he changed his stance at the final moment and voted to ratify the amendment, Mr. Byrne responded by saying, "I knew that a mother's advice is always safest for a boy to follow, and my mother wanted me to vote for ratification. I appreciated the fact that an opportunity such as this seldom comes to a mortal man. The chance to free 17 million women from political slavery was mine." When Mr. Byrne cast his history-changing vote, he carried in his pocket a letter from his mother. In it she had written, "Be a good boy," and had urged him to vote for ratification. History points to the impact of Harry Byrne's one vote. It is remiss if we do not also applaud the courage of Banks Turner for changing his one vote and propelling Tennessee to vote for ratification. Representing the views of their constituents was their duties as elected officials. Perhaps the loudest applause belongs to Mrs. Febb Byrne, Harry T's mother. She was a disenfranchised, unheard voice who represented 1/2 of the United States citizenry, yet who took the time to write to her state representative, express her political views, and cast her silent vote. Mrs. Byrne appreciated that the duties and obligations of a citizen apply to all citizens and are not merely limited to those who are afforded prescribed privileges or a vote. 3 individual stories of separate votes determined one state's vote that changed the fabric of American society. The U.S. Constitution finally included all citizens, and we the people supported a true democratic republic. Had Banks Turner, Harry Byrne, or Febb Byrne not answered the call to fulfill his or her duty as a citizen, remove any one of these singular votes, and the story changes. History morphs, and our country's guiding principles would not have changed on that hot, humid August day in Nashville, 1920. Voting, a duty, an obligation, one that is critical to the success of our nation. As a teenager, I cannot yet vote. However, my opinions and political perspectives do matter. Just as Mrs. Byrne did not passively stay mute on an issue for which she had a firm opinion, I do not sit quietly waiting for others to decide the issues that will impact my future. Good citizenry is not age restrictive, nor is it limited to office holders. Banks Turner and Harry Byrne fulfilled their obligations as elected representatives. However, I identify more strongly with Mrs. Byrne, who recognized that civic duties extend beyond elected positions. When I turn 18 and can vote, rest assured that I shall, for, as the past illustrates, my vote matters, because one vote really can change history, as demonstrated by the events that led to the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Thank you.